Today we are going to start with a third chapter in psychology, that is intelligence. Okay. So as per the theory of evolution, we know that human brain is more developed in comparison to other animals, right? And because of that, we have mental capacity like reasoning, thinking, imagination, memory, creativity, etc. But from all of this, the valuable asset we can say is the intelligence. Okay, we generally use terms like sensible, clever, ability, then acumen, etc. to term as intelligence. But intelligence is a complex mental process. It is not limited to a single activity, but it is associated with various activities and tasks and situations, right? We have intelligence associated with physical, mental, emotional, social, political, scientific, cognitive, etc. Just a minute. So intelligence is associated with physical, mental, emotional, social, political, scientific, cognitive, etc. aspects of human behavior. So intelligence includes all of this. Okay. Then we have various types of intelligence tests developed by psychology to measure the intelligence of an individual. We know that we have intelligence, but how much we have? So to measure that, we have various intelligence tests we will study further in this chapter. Okay. And on the basis of the score that we attain in the intelligence test, we can know about intelligent capacity of an individual. Okay. And as per international standards, intelligence can be classified as borderline, dull, average, bright, normal, superior, or gifted in a scientific way. So we have division of intelligence based on the intelligence score, and as per the intelligence standards, these are divided into borderline, dull, average, bright, normal, superior, or gifted in a scientific way. Okay. Now let us understand the definition and the nature of the intelligence. So here different psychologists have tried to define intelligence from different perspective. So in 1879, German psychologist Ebbinghaus has first tried to define, he was the first psychologist to define intelligence on the basis of difference in two individuals. So what he took as a basis for the intelligence, he took the difference between the two individuals. Like we have person A and person B. So if person A is better at reasoning than person B, we will say that person A is intelligent according to German psychologist Ebbinghaus. Okay. Now, from where does the word intelligence came? So the English word intelligence is derived from the Latin word intelligere. Okay. And what does intelligere means? It means able to understand, to be able to understand. So intelligence means understanding. Okay. Then we have various definitions given by various psychologists. The first is the Sarth Gujarati. He said that intelligence means the ability to understand or apperception of mind to know about an object. So what did he mean is intelligence is the ability to understand or the apperception of the mind to know about an object. So it is an ability to understand, it is an ability of mind to know about an object. So it is said by Sarth Gujarati. Then we have other psychologists. We can study various definitions, but here we should focus on the definitions of Gardner, Sternberg, and J.P. Das, because we have some contemporary approaches to intelligence, and these three are one of the these three gave the contemporary approaches. So when you will study about contemporary approaches, you will be able to easily understand because of the definition, and also this definition can be included as the intro in your answer while writing the contemporary approaches to intelligence. Okay. So what did Gardner said? He said that intelligence is the ability or skill to solve problem. So what did he say? Intelligence is the ability or skill. It is your ability or skill to solve the problems from which you can solve the problems which are considered important in one or more cultural settings or to create valuable things. So which kind of problems you can solve with the intelligence? Which are considered important in your culture. Okay. Or to create something valuable. So when you solve problem of these two types, then the ability is known as intelligence according to Gardner. Okay. Then we have Sternberg's definition, that is, intelligence comprises the mental abilities. What does intelligence comprises? The mental abilities which are necessary for adaptation, shaping and selection of environmental context. So what does intelligence comprises according to Sternberg? It comprises the mental abilities that are necessary for adaptation, shaping and selection of the environment in which we live. Okay. Then we have definition by J.P. Das. What did he say? It was, intelligence is the sum total of all cognitive processes. So what do we call intelligence? As the total of all the cognitive processes. And what does cognitive processes means? It means the mental processes like reasoning, understanding, imagination, decision making, etc. So all those processes that goes on in our mind. Cognitive means that goes on in our mind, and sum total of those processes is known as intelligence. Like it entails planning, coding of information and attention as well as arousal. So according to J.P. Das, intelligence is a sum total of cognitive processes, and it also entails planning, coding of information and attention and as well as arousal. Okay. So here we understood the basic word intelligence, from where it came, and also the definitions given by the different authors and different psychologists. Now let us move on to nature of intelligence. So if you study the definitions, you can take out the nature of intelligence from that only. So the first one is cognitive differences. So we know that intelligence is the sum total of cognitive processes. Okay. So it includes mental processes like reasoning, understanding, imagination, decision making, etc. And so we can say that intelligence is a global mental ability, right? But here we have cognitive differences. Some might be good at understanding, some might be good at reasoning, some might be good at imagination. So there are bound to be differences in the cognitive processes. Okay. So there are cognitive differences in the intelligence. Then we have ability to think abstractly. What is the second nature of intelligence? Ability to think abstractly. What does it mean? Intelligence means to be able to think abstractly. What does abstractly means? Abstractly means that do not have a tangible presence in our environment, but that is intangible, that is in our mind. Suppose we have some words like justice, honesty, nobility and etc. So do we have justice in a tangible form in our environment? No. Justice is a word that we understand in our mind, that is intangible. And same way honesty and nobility is. We cannot see the honesty, we cannot see justice, but we can feel it in our mind, we can think about it. So intelligence is the ability to think abstractly. Okay. We understand the meaning of such abstract words because of our intelligence. Okay. Then we have ability to solve problem. Because of the intelligence, the human being is able to solve the problems because of his past experiences and because of his insight. So practice, training and experience can help in bringing a change in behavior in an effective manner. Okay. So the third nature of intelligence is ability to solve problems. Then we have setting up of goals and capacity to make decision. So because of intelligence, we can set our goals and the capacity to make decision. We have the capacity to make decision. So which type of goals we can make because of our intelligence? Realistic goals. We can decide the realistic goals because of that, and we can direct our behavior according to our goal. That is, we can have our goal oriented behavior because of the intelligence. And because of intelligence, we can make sound decisions. Like suppose we can say that we have rationality, we have a realistic goal to complete one chapter in an hour. No doubt someone can do it and someone cannot do it, but we cannot do 5 chapters in 1 hour. Okay. So because of our intelligence, we know that we cannot do 5 chapters in an hour, and so we set the goal according to the realistic nature. So we know that we can do one chapter in 1 hour, so we can set the goal according to that, and this happens because of the intelligence. Okay. Then we have fifth nature, that is helps to make adjustment with environment. What does intelligence do? Because of intelligence we can adapt, we can shape, and we can select the environment in which we can live, in which we live. So we can make adjustments with the environment because of our intelligence. Okay. So here we complete our nature of intelligence. Then we have the third most important topic, that is normal probability curve of intelligence. This is a basic probability curve which we need to understand, because in further contemporary approaches or when we will calculate the intelligence according to the intelligence test, we will require this normal probability curve to understand the intelligence quotient, that is IQ of a person, and how according to international standards the intelligence is divided into different groups. Okay. So we know that intelligence means ability to gain knowledge, solve problems, and to do abstract reasoning because of learning and understanding. Okay. So we can observe individual differences in measurement of intelligence. We know that we have certain differences in measurement of intelligence, right? No two person can have same intelligence, right? They are bound to have differences. So for measuring intelligence, psychologist William Stern in 1912 has given a concept of intelligence quotient, that is IQ. Let's understand that. So according to psychologist William Stern, what IQ means is the mental age divided by chronological age multiplied by 100. So you have the formula of IQ. So you have the formula of IQ, that is mental age divided by chronological age into 100. And this formula was given by psychologist William Stern in 1912. Okay. So what do you mean by mental age? Mental age refers to the development of your brain relative to your environment. So in which environment you are living, related to that, how much your brain has developed is known as mental age. And what do you mean by chronological age? It is the age that you write, that you calculate from your birth. Okay. So to find the IQ, we need mental age divided by chronological age multiplied by 100. Okay. So this is the formula for IQ. Now levels of intelligence can be known on the basis of IQ. That is different type of levels we studied in the intro, that is divided, that is as per the international standards they have divided the intelligence, and that standards the differentiation can be known on the basis of the IQ. Okay. And here Terman was the first one to give classification of intelligence. So who was the first one to give the classification of intelligence? He was Terman. Okay. Now what is the level of intelligence in general population can be studied on the basis of intelligence test. On the basis of different studies done by psychologists, we get the following curve, which is bell shaped. Now you need to understand this graph. This bell shaped graph is known as normal probability curve. Okay, this bell shaped graph is termed as normal probability curve. Now if this graph deals with the intelligence, then we call it as normal probability curve of intelligence. Okay. So as you can see, the population, the 50% of population falls between 90 to 110. This 90 to 110 are the points that we get by the IQ formula. Okay. So 50% of the population falls between this. This area contains the 50% of the population. Okay. So here we have the line which states the points of the IQ, means how much IQ we have. Okay. Then here we have 50% population ranging between 90 to 110 of the IQ. Then we have just 2.2%. See over here, here 70 and here 130. So above 130 are the person with gifted intelligence, and below 70 are the person with whom are mentally challenged, and such persons are only 2.2% out of the total population. Okay, so from this graph we can know that how much population is under how much intelligence quotient. Okay, so this graph basically tells about this. Okay, then over here we complete our normal probability curve. Then we have certain contemporary approaches to intelligence. Means there are some approaches given by different psychologists how you can term intelligence or how you can calculate that. Okay, so as we know that intelligence is sum total of the different cognitive processes, and also we know that individual adapts or make adjustment with his environment on the basis of his intelligence capacity. Okay, so we can say that intelligence is interrelated. Now various studies are done by psychologists on its nature, measurement, development, and how it works. So different psychologists try to give different approaches to intelligence. So here in this chapter we are going to study 5 types of intelligence approaches, contemporary approaches. So first one is Spearman's two-factor theory, second Sternberg's triarchic theory, Guilford's three-dimensional theory, Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence, and J.P. Das' past theory. Okay, so let's move on to the first theory, that is Spearman two-factor theory. So British psychologist Charles Spearman in 1904 presented the principle of nature and power of intelligence, and it is known as two-factor theory. So what he presented? The principle, nature and the power of intelligence, and it is known as two-factor theory. So according to Spearman, what are the two factors that he included? First is general intelligence and the second one is special intelligence. So two factors that Spearman studies are general intelligence and the second one is special intelligence. Okay, so what does general intelligence is known as in his theory? As it is known as G factor. So general intelligence factor is known as G factor and the special intelligence factor is known as S factor. Okay, and the cognitive abilities or intelligence in an individual is a result of G factor and S factor. Entire level of intelligence is a sum total of G factor and S factor. Both have their specific characteristics which are as follows. So what did he say is that the total of both the factors is the intelligence that an individuals hold. Okay, so G factor and S factor, the total of both the factors is intelligence according to Spearman. So what are the characteristics of these factors? Let's see. General factors characteristics. Okay, so it is inborn ability. So this type of general factor means this type of intelligence is inborn. It is general mental power or energy. It is general. There is no specific power. This is general that we do. Like we move, we walk and all. So this is general mental power. It is consistent. Means it is consistent. It does not go up and down. It is consistent throughout the process. Okay. There are individual differences observed in G factor. So G factor can be different according to the individuals. So person A have different G factor than person B. There can be possibility of that. Okay. This ability is used in all the daily activities. So general factors are used in all the daily activities like brushing, bathing, moving, playing and walking, etc. So this ability is used for daily activities. Then individuals who have high G factor are more successful in life. So what did Spearman say? That the person with high G factor will have successful life. Okay. Then we have certain characteristics for special factors, and what are they? These factors are not inborn, hence it is learned. So the special factors according to Spearman are learned and it is not inborn. You have to learn those factors. Then it is obtained by the environment and it is a learned ability. So from where we obtain those factors? From our environment in which we live, and so they are learned ability. In one individual, various activities differences have been observed in S factor. So we can say that in one individual, various activities differences have been observed. So what does it mean is, in particular individual also there are differences in special factor. Okay, then differences are observed in S factor of any one individual and their degree is also different. All the special abilities are not the same level, like language ability, mental ability are not the same. So there are differences observed in S factor of any individual and their degree is also different. Like special factors can differ in an individual and their degrees can also differ. Okay, like for example, the ability of language and the mathematical ability are not same, they are bound to be different. Like for suppose we know that we learn maths and we learn language, they are not inborn. So these two abilities are our special factor. So we know that in a particular person also these two special factors can differ. An individual can be good at language but he might not be good at mathematics. Or in other individual we can say that a person is good at mathematics but he is not good at language. Or in a third person, say person C, he can be good at language also and he can be good at mathematics also. So the special factors differs in an individual and their degrees are also different. Okay. Then with education and training, change can be brought in to a certain extent, and because of the education and training, changes can be brought in the special factors. Okay. So these were the characteristics of special factors. So we know general factor and we know special factors. So here is a Spearman two-factor theory diagram. So in center G has been written. So that defines general factor, which is the ability, that is inborn ability, that the characteristic we studied, and we have the surrounded by the special factors. So we have the general factor at the core, which are inborn, and we develop our special factors by learning. Okay, so we have those increment due to the learning. Okay. So here we complete at the first contemporary theory, that is Spearman two-factor theory. Okay.